One by one, across 3 years, nearly every face that made a YouTube channel famous quietly walked out the door. That channel is Matt's Off-Road Recovery, a towing operation out of Hurricane, Utah that somehow became one of the most watched blue-collar channels on the internet. And the people who built it with Matt Wetzel have been leaving since 2021. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why they left, where they went, and why the real story is nothing like what the comments section has been saying. Before there was a yellow banana Jeep, before Ed's weather reports, before the channel hit 1 million subscribers, there was a roofer who couldn't figure out computers. Matt Wetzel grew up in Washington County, southern Utah, the only boy among 8 children. He spent his early working years in the roofing trade, 10 years as an employee, then 2 years as co-owner of a company called Skyline Roofing. He was skilled, but roofing wasn't where he wanted to stay. When he heard about a struggling local towing company for sale, he bought it without any professional towing experience behind him. He named it Red Ryder Towing. Then in 2013, he bought a second operation, Winder Towing, a hurricane institution that had been running since 1981. The name had a reputation built over 3 decades: honest, fast, professional. Matt kept the name. He spent the next 6 years building the business the old-fashioned way. He had no social media presence to speak of. He painted all his trucks the same color so people would recognize them on the road. He'd watched demolition derbies long enough to understand that branding mattered even when you finished 5th. He knew how to build something recognizable. He just hadn't found his platform yet. In March 2019, armed with an iPhone and no production knowledge whatsoever, he started filming recoveries. Not for views, not for a brand deal, just because the jobs were interesting. The scenery around Zion was extraordinary, and someone told him people might watch. They did. And here's the part that changes everything about what you just heard. Within 3.5 years of that first iPhone video, Matt's Off-Road Recovery had crossed 1.5 million subscribers. Not because the production was polished, not because the thumbnails were clever, because the content was completely real. A middle-aged tow truck driver pulling dune buggies out of sand traps near Zion National Park, talking through every problem like he was explaining it to a neighbor, surrounded by people who genuinely wanted to be there. The crew that grew around Matt was never a hired cast. It was a mix of family, friends, employees, and neighbors. His wife Jamie ran Winder Towing behind the scenes while occasionally jumping in on camera. His son Rudy from an earlier marriage became one of the channel's most recognizable faces, a skilled fabricator and trail driver who helped build and operate the recovery rigs. Ed, an elderly gold prospector with a permanently positive outlook, became a fan favorite. And then there was the wider crew: Trevor, Skeeter, Tucker, Tom, Randy, Lizzie, Gaspar, all real people with real lives outside the frame. That authenticity is exactly what made the departures so jarring to the audience. When faces started disappearing without explanation, the comment sections filled up with speculation. Were they fired? Was there fallout? Was something wrong behind the scenes? Matt largely said nothing, and the silence made the questions louder. Most people who know this story stop here. But the real story starts right now. The departures didn't start with a crew fallout. They started with a legal charge that hit Matt personally. In late 2021, Utah's Insurance Fraud Division charged Matt Wetzel with second-degree felony insurance fraud. Investigators alleged that Winder Towing had submitted over $15,000 in inaccurate claims to AAA, including a 2020 Sand Hollow recovery of a Polaris RZR that was reportedly misrepresented as a standard tow. Matt acknowledged paperwork errors, but maintained the underlying work was genuine, that he sometimes filed claims after the fact to ease the financial burden on clients who couldn't pay up front. The state disagreed. A second-degree felony in Utah carries a potential sentence of up to 15 years. The case was eventually resolved. Matt entered a no-contest plea, an acknowledgement of responsibility without a formal admission of guilt. The sentence: 18 months probation, $15,000 in restitution paid to AAA, and $1,745 to Utah's Insurance Fraud Division. The channel kept uploading. The recoveries continued, but something had shifted. The channel that had grown up fast, built around a loose and loyal crew, was about to change shape permanently. And that's when the decision was made, the one nobody around him saw coming. Randy was first. He stepped back from the channel in March 2021 and launched his own YouTube channel, All Terrain Randy. Then came Rudy. Matt's eldest son left in April 2022. He was 23. He'd helped build the recovery vehicles, worked the tow trucks, and appeared in dozens of videos, and he walked away from all of it. In an interview with the YouTube channel Decent Garage, Rudy explained his reasoning directly. The tight filming schedule at Matt's off-road recovery left him almost no room to tell his own story, to work through his own challenges on camera, to build something that felt like his. When the chance came to branch out, he took it. He launched Rudy's Adventure in Design. Matt supported the decision publicly. 6 months later, Trevor and Skeeter were both gone. Trevor had been the channel's most kinetic cameraman, the one sprinting alongside vehicles mid-recovery, falling over in the process, somehow keeping the shot. He left in October 2022 for a job climbing communications towers, closer to his family. Skeeter departed the same month for a position at a Texas oil field, returning to his background in welding and fabrication. Matt addressed both departures in an October 2022 video. They moved on. They weren't fired. They were still friends. Tucker, the video editor who had become an on-screen personality in his own right, disappeared in February 2023. Matt confirmed he had chosen to go freelance. Then Lizzie, the daughter of Matt's childhood friend Stuart Stout, who had become one of the channel's most beloved figures, left in July 2023. She had married Clancy Ballard the previous September, and her life was moving toward her husband's family ranch in Kane County. Her passion, as she had always made clear, was ranching, not vehicle fabrication. TomTom followed in late 2023, launching TomTom's Shop, his own fabrication-focused channel. Hefe was last. He retired from the Army National Guard in mid-2024 after years of service, and Matt actively encouraged him to follow his own path. What happened next is the reason this story spread across the internet. By mid-2024, nearly the entire original crew had left. From the outside, from the comment sections, from the reaction videos, from the Reddit threads, it looked like a channel quietly falling apart at the seams. But look at where every one of those people landed. Trevor and Tucker launched Misadventure Lab together in June 2023, partnering with a third collaborator named George. In July 2024, they published a channel update confirming that Skeeter and TomTom were both still living in Hurricane and working in automotive fabrication, not gone, not bitter. Still in the same world they'd helped build. Randy had already been running All-Terrain Ranch for years and was active and growing. Rudy was welding, fabricating, hunting, building the Rudicon, running his own channel on his own terms. Lizzie was ranching. Hefe was producing his own adventure content, with Matt's team still editing his videos. Matt Wetzel didn't lose his crew. He built a generation of people who knew how to put a camera on a recovery vehicle and make something worth watching. And most of them left because they were ready, not because something broke. In a July 2024 video, Matt acknowledged the shape the channel had taken. He didn't frame it as loss. He framed it as movement, people going where life was calling them, exactly the way he once sold his share of a roofing company because towing was calling him. Here's what the comments kept asking, and here's the answer they never got, until now. Strip away the algorithm concerns, the subscriber counts, and the 3 years of speculation, and what you're left with is a straightforward truth. Matt's Off-Road Recovery is not a production company. It's a towing business in a small Utah town where the owner happened to pick up an iPhone one day and show the world what his work looked like. The people who became part of that channel were employees and friends and family members who were already there. When their lives moved, the channel moved with them. Ed is still there. The Banana is still there. The canyon roads near Zion are still there. A 2026 crew update confirmed the channel is still active, still recovering vehicles, still operating out of Hurricane. The format has changed. The faces around Matt have changed. But the job that launched the whole thing, pulling stuck tourists out of sand and mud on the edges of one of the most beautiful stretches of desert in America, that hasn't changed at all. Matt Wetzel started this with an iPhone because the work was interesting. That part remains exactly as true as it was in 2019. And if you think that was surprising, stay with me, because this next part is why the whole story matters. The comments section wanted a scandal, a firing, a falling out between lifelong friends, a channel in freefall. What actually happened was quieter, and stranger, and more human than any of that. A tow truck driver in southern Utah built something so genuine that the people around him started believing they could build something too. Rudy, Trevor, Tucker, TomTom, Hefe. One by one they left, not because Matt pushed them out, but because watching someone build from zero with an iPhone and a beat-up Jeep XJ made the idea of doing it themselves feel possible. That's the story the algorithm doesn't surface. That's the part that gets lost in the titles asking where they went. They went to build their own thing, because Matt showed them it could be done. The channel is still going, the crew has evolved, and somewhere in the Utah desert, Ed is probably delivering a weather report right now. The real question isn't why everyone left Matt's off-road recovery. It's whether Matt Wetzel realizes he accidentally became the best mentor in blue-collar YouTube, without ever trying to be one. Do you think Matt should have spoken up sooner about why his crew was leaving? Or did staying quiet actually protect the people who left? Let me know below. The comment section wanted a scandal, a firing, a falling out between lifelong friends, a channel in freefall. What actually happened was quieter, and stranger, and more human than any of that. A tow truck driver in southern Utah built something so genuine that the people around him started believing they could build something too. Rudy, Trevor, Tucker, Tom, Hefe. One by one they left, not because Matt pushed them out, but because watching someone build from zero with an iPhone and a beat-up Jeep XJ made the idea of doing it themselves feel possible. That's the story the algorithm doesn't surface. That's the part that gets lost in the titles asking where they went. They went to build their own thing, because Matt showed them it could be done. The channel is still going, the crew has evolved, and somewhere in the Utah desert, Ed is probably delivering a weather report right now. The real question isn't why everyone left Matt's off-road recovery. It's whether Matt Wetzel realizes he accidentally became the best mentor in blue-collar YouTube, without ever trying to be one. Do you think Matt should have spoken up sooner about why his crew was leaving? Or did staying quiet actually protect the people who left? Let me know below.